Hi guys. Today I want to talk for something totally different than just a badminton technique, and it's, I think, a very important topic, especially something what we have been working in the past 1 year with many of my German players. I promised some of my Danish players who I worked before that I will also talk about that, and it's all about mental preparation. Now there are a lot of strategies for mental preparation and for the match and for the training, and a lot of them are dealing with cognitive behaviors and dealing with a lot of personal things, and I not always like to do that. And that simply said, the one strategy I'm going to try to show you today is a combination between some of the others. I have not developed them, none of them, but it tries to prepare you in a different way for a training or any event that you want to really perform at your top. So the very first thing I would like you to understand, and I would like you to see, is what we call anxiety curve. So it looks like a mountain, right? So you need to be anxious enough, or you need to be nervous enough so you can perform. So more likely what you really want to do is you want to be on the top of the mountain. So you want to be somewhere here. If you get too nervous, you're going very fast that way. So you can explode, you could experience a very high anxiety and overwhelming and all kind of stuff like that. And then at the end, you're just going to collapse because your energy is finished and your nervousness is very, very hard to control. If you're not nervous enough, so that means you're, let's say, somewhere here, climbing the mountain. Simply said, you're not ready enough. You're not able to perform at your very best, and you will be compromised to one level. So your readiness is not enough. So the biggest trick, what you first do in a warming up, is something very simple. You want to succeed to climb that mountain, and you want to end up somewhere here. But this is like a slide board. When you're training or when you're performing on court, or even if you have an exam or is there anything else, you have a lot of issues to stay here. It's like you're going to go a little bit that way and you're going to go a little bit that way and so on. So I would like to introduce you to some of the basic methods that keeps you being there and also first gives you the opportunity to climb that mountain. The very first thing is actually controlled breathing. So I will put it as a breathing. So the controlled breathing is something very simple. When you play a rally and you feel that you start getting very nervous, like example, and you want to cool down and you want to slow down so you can actually go back and the nervousness can go a little bit away. It means you will just make one small round or you walk around the court. Hopefully the referee or the judge will allow you to do that. And you're going to try to hold your breath, and you're just going to try to hold it. If it's possible, count to 6, like 1, 2, 3, and release it slowly. This holding is one of the only physiological ways that we know to control your heart rate and control your heart beatings. And that simply means that the breathing is going to help you really a lot to just calm down. Now, this is not always enough, right? So if you're, let's say, underperforming, probably you want to do something different. So when you're on the other side of underperforming, we say, okay, now I have to somehow push myself. I have to really do something internally. And this is one of the second things that you're going to do. And this is going to be like shouting and really trying to self-motivate. So I'll call it a self-motivation. And it's something different for everyone. So you will see many top players when they're performing and they're like a little bit behind the score, and they feel from outside not ready. They'll start like, come on, I can do this, and push it and all that stuff like that. Many times we as a coaches have an agreement with our players where we'll also be able to influence it from outside. We'll be able to push it, and that actually is really great when you have a coach behind you to be able to or calm you or push you when you need to do that. Now, this is two very basic things that always work. However, there are a lot more things that you want to consider. One of the really greatest methods, and the first one, which allows you to climb the mountain, is actually visualization. So the visualization is a very simple method. Your brain simply controls what your body is going to do. So I think it was 1992 at the Olympics when they did a research with most of the a gold medalist from the Olympics, when they analyze how the body reacts if they try to screen the nervous system without actually having any performance. And it was pretty amazing because the brain is going to fire everything what you need to do. So when they were recalling that final sprint or this gold medal a sprint like example, the body it sends the same signal. The body can't make so the brain can't make a difference between is it real or not. So when you close your eyes and you're able to visualize something, then the brain is still going to stimulate your body the same way as like if you are doing it. And what we're doing in the warming up and the first climb of the mountain is something very simple. During the warming up, you imagine everything what is necessary that you can perform at your best, or you can even win that match if you learn to perform to win. So in one way, you're teaching yourself controllably to visualize something that brings you to your top performance at this single moment. This is not connected with what is your level, and this is not connected with how tired you are. There's nothing to do with anything else except you at this single moment focusing on something that could bring you, and visualize it during the warming up. You don't have to stay in one place and visualize with closed eyes. You can visualize while you're warming up. So you'll see a lot of top players putting the music in the ears. If they're too relaxed, they'll put the music and beat that could really bring them up and bring them forward. So a little bit something faster, something that they like very much to help their self-motivation to go up. And at the same time, you'll see them imitating a lot of movements. Now, one thing that we as a coaches have to do really, we have to give them a proper strategy. So if you're performing and you really have to focus on something, it's better be something that is really good for your tactical game or for your technical game on court. So this is of course our responsibility. If the player is really well enough aware, then probably he will have an idea on his own what to start with, where is the service, where is the receiving, what to do with the third and fourth stroke, and so on. So this is the strategy that helps you visualizing. And there is one last thing that is very, very powerful, and this is called the self-talk. Now, of course, one thing that all of the players, and of course all the coaches have to be aware, is self-talk is all the time there. So you're always talking to your inner eye. There's some really great books about the self-talk, and I can definitely recommend a lot of them, and I'll try to put them in the description of the video. But you have to imagine for the self-talk is that you are talking to you, and your conscious mind is all the time communicating to your subconscious mind. Simply said, when you're being positive and you're like, come on, I can do that and I can push it, then your conscious mind says to your subconscious mind, you can do it, come on. And the subconscious, all the emotions are going to wake up. They're positive emotions. You're going to be excited and a little bit nervous, but at the same time you're going to feel, wow, great, I like that feeling, I want to push it, I want to go forward. And if you allow any negative thoughts or anything as negative emotions to come in, then of course your conscious mind is going to say to your subconscious mind probably, oh, you bad boy or girl, how can you do that, that was shit, that was bad, and so on and so on. And then of course it creates a negative emotion. Negative emotion creates only more negative emotion. So what is very important is that you understand the idea about the self-talk as something that is strongly positive, as something that is very well planned and aware. And that's also where the communication between the coaches and the players is really, really important. We call it a self-talk, but there is a lot of things we as a coaches from outside can introduce and push when you're on court as a player, like example. But of course the greatest level is if you can do it on your own, and if you can really evaluate on your own, push yourself on your own, and correct yourself on your own. One thing that for the visualization and the self-talk, it works both ways. So if you get too nervous, the visualization can get you back. So like example, if you get too nervous and you start breathing between the rallies and you start walking, and you have a strategy on something that focus, or maybe we as a coaches give you a keyword that you can really focus on, this could immediately put the visualization together with the breathing, walk around, then step on the surf, take a final breath, make the surf, and you already have a strategy, you already have a clear idea, and you put your brain, you visualize how you're going to win that rally. This is not only going to cool you down, but it's also going to focus your energy. And I want you to imagine it's like a vibration on that board. And as good as you become, these waves of the board on the top of the mountain is not going to be big. They're going to be very small, but they're going to be very dynamic, and they're going to happen all the time. Same with the visualization. When you get too relaxed or you're not nervous enough, that's the same thing. You can start pushing yourself. Come on, come on, come on. Then take the breath again, and then focus on what exactly you have to do. The strategy gives you a lot of clues as a key important things what you're supposed to do. But of course, you're the person who is going to make probably the self-talk on your own, or maybe hopefully with your coach as well out in the court, between the rallies, of course. So you can see it's something super easy and really relaxed. Of course, when you finish the match, you're not going to climb, you're going to go down on that way, you're going to slowly cool down. I would just mention one single thing for the mental cooling down, because if this was the warming up and maintaining on the top of the mountain, and you're very exhausted emotionally as well, and coming down on the mountain, it's really important that you learn to cool down. It's really important that you allow your body to emotionally shut down, because if you're keeping yourself on a state of super emotion, super ready, then of course you spend really a lot of energy, and this emotional energy is so precious in a big tournament or a lot of matches one after another. So you'll do it maybe one match, maybe two matches, and then you're going to collapse, because the energy required that you can stay on the top of the mountain is no longer there. So you will not have any chance to climb it on. So after you have a match, or after you have an important event, or whatever you want to use this strategy for, it's quite important that you cool down, that you take yourself, you put some relaxed music on your ears, you lie down, you imagine how it's relaxed, and suddenly you put yourself and use the visualization to imagine that you are somewhere in the place in the world that you really love to be, and it could be on the beach, or could be in the mountain, and you can imagine the sun and how it's warm and cozy and relaxed, and you focus on the positive thing. Now, many players especially said, "Oh, I didn't win. Why should I do it? I don't deserve to cool down. I don't deserve to feel positive." That's something that I personally believe, that no matter the winning or no matter of losing, you have to emotionally be yourself, and that means there is no need of negative emotion when you're losing. You can still be very positive while losing. I know that it's not always easy, but when you learn that one and you learn to evaluate yourself, you take the lose as a lesson instead of anything like negative. And in that case, it becomes very easy and very simplified that you can still cool down even if you lose the match. Of course, if you win the match, it's going to be probably easier, but not always. Many times you're going to be very sore, or you have a lot of pain. Maybe there is even a smaller micro injuries coming up during the matches and so on. That makes it very tough, even if you win the match, or during the match, to stay focused and stay really related. Now, I hope that helps a little bit. I promised some of my players, as I said before, that I'm going to put it online, and I'm going, of course, to send the link. I encourage you to subscribe for the channel with the idea to give you more and more materials, and I will try to be more consistent. So let's see. Thank you for your time.